Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
In the house. Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict. I am live. Yes, I am live. We have a very special guest who's been on the show many a times, but no other person in this world, I think, has been more exciting about what is coming right now. So without further ado, Oz, are you there? Have you gone to the toilet? He's probably gone to the toilet. This always happens to me. How's everybody doing in the chat tonight? Oz, have I scared you off? He is here. This is not. I haven't put a camera upstairs. I'm gonna have the wife pop her head around the corner in a minute. Well, anyway, folks, while we're waiting for Osvaldo Franco, we'll play the clip. Then I'll tell him off when he comes back.
Took off, booking it.
Break Omaha, pick me kid, Rockwell Peralta, passive ability to launch helo ASAP.
Splashing your bearing range.
Sure. You got 2 winds, 30 knots.
Keep going, bro.
We're making 10, so we could probably bring that 35 relative.
Windy as fuck outside.
Sir.
Yeah, I'll bring it down.
We got a lot of white water out there, so 6-foot swells.
Whoa, it's getting close.
Yeah, we have 31 knots sustained wind, topside, gust of 40.
Whoa, splashed. Mark bearing and range.
He's still not here. I don't know where he's gone. Oz! Oh, God. Only in America, as they say. Well, anyway, guys, while we're waiting for Oz, Valdo Franco, here he is. He went to wash his face. He's back. How you doing, mate?
Great, brother. How are you?
Thanks for joining us tonight, mate. It's been exciting. It's been an exciting month.
Yeah, incredible. One of the most incredible ones we've ever had in the field. And it's just getting better.
How are you kind of like? How do you feel with all this?
Relieved.
Okay.
Like a sense of relief. Kind of feel kind of free. Oddly enough. You know, like this has been a long 30 years, man. Like wow. I thought that this would happen by the time I was old. Maybe. And the last 3 years have changed everything.
So you actually think this is it? We're going to get a disclosure next month. I'm not talking about a soft disclosure. I don't want no like.
I don't think that there's any way for there not. Listen, even if it's just the acknowledgement of, hey, there's some craft and we have some weird materials that we've recovered, and maybe bodies, maybe not. There's no light way of taking that.
Right.
You know, there's no like, you know, like even with that, that's the impetus for all of this other stuff that's attached to that to come out. You know, no one can say that we were wrong ever again. You know, no one can pretend that this isn't going on anymore ever again.
So let's rewind to the first little clip that we got. When was that? TTSA, the gimbal footage. How long ago was that now?
2017.
So how many, what you would say, kind of approved pieces of footage would you say that we have now?
Say that again?
How many approved? So, you know, that have been acknowledged.
We're up to 5 now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But I'm just checking.
And
I'm not the ufologist here. So
yeah,
you know,
and there seems like there's other videos that are being prepped for release now as well. So that number is going to go up soon.
are you not a little bit like tired of the, you know, the low res? And I know that's what we get. It's there always there seems to be the military stuff that we're getting, which is cool. But you know, where's the public stuff?
Well, I look at it this way: we're starting to get very clear photos, and it's looking like the photos are actually stills from video. Um, I'm starting to think that that's eventually that we're gonna cross into that. I think very matter of factly we're gonna cross into that. Um, I'd say sooner than later. And they're taking baby steps. They're slowly like heating the water up little by little, and it seems like we're getting there. In fact, I'd bet on it.
So let's rewind to the pyramid UFO. What did you make? What did you make of that footage?
Oh, honestly, not much. It's uh, I do believe it's genuine. It's been stated to be genuine. Um, I think that just because somebody can make something that looks kind of like that, using methods to try to fool the camera, doesn't mean that that's what that is. You know, I don't think that the Navy. I mean, the Navy's confirmed that this is real. I don't think they're like trying to make themselves look like fools.
You're referring to the Mick West debunk there, aren't you?
Yeah, no, like honestly, just because Nick West has an art project that kind of looks like that, it doesn't mean that that's what that is.
Okay, but he did. He kind of. It was a very good debunk, though. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to give him that.
Oh sure. I still don't think that the military is going to make a mistake like this in public like that, especially given the subject matter.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Oz, because you know me. I'm really excited about this subject, and it kind of it makes my nipples go extremely hard when we're talking about UFOs.
Mhm.
But the problem that we have with this footage is at the moment this bit of footage has been acknowledged, yes, all on news channels and what have you, but the source for these two pieces of footage is George Knapp and Corbell. So as much as I mean you may trust these guys, but
Oh no,
it's
there's
too
been they're actually starting to release metrics based on the videos as well. Things that prove Corbell actually I believe the video actually has GPS coordinates on it. It is confirmable. Um, there's some parts that seem to be missing, but that
yeah.
seems to be par for course.
I
mean,
did want to
honestly, like, listen, all we have now these 5 videos. All of them have bits and pieces missing, and that actually seems to be like the rule. Now, when you get these videos from the military, remember we used to not get anything from the military. This is still very new. We're in uncharted territory in that
can,
regard.
can I ask, can you see what I'm playing? Can you see when I play a clip, can you see that on your
Yeah,
phone? Yeah.
yeah,
So with you're talking about this, aren't you? And there's a cut
yeah, yeah,
right there.
yeah. Well, honestly, like I think that like was it used to hide something? Yes, but it was probably used to hide our capabilities of observing these things, like Go Fast, FLIR, all of these other videos. They all had stuff that was removed, but that was removed because we don't want to leak certain military capabilities. That's fine. It's completely consistent. Provided we are being given what we can be given.
Okay, so when I originally spoke about this, I think it literally we were kind of a bit excited. We didn't know what to make of it because it literally dropped 20 minutes before I went live. Now I've had time to digest it, yeah. And a few people in it that was in the chat was saying that splash means it just goes
Went into the
underwater.
water. Doesn't mean there was a
I
splash.
know that, but the thing is here, um, it doesn't. It looks like it moves away. To me,
Well,
it looks like it blinks out and moves away. Now they would know if it went underwater because they would have like sonar or whatever other means they
yeah,
have
it would
to
have. It
detect
would have
this
like
thing.
yeah. Even if it didn't make a splash, in a
No,
conventional sense, like it still would have, like I imagine it would have made some type of noise, you know, and that would have been picked up. It would have been audible. Um,
So we're
so
talking about zero inertia. So this thing just literally can go into
yes, pass into
a,
the water and out of the water into the as easily as it goes through the sky. I
it
mean, honestly, these
reminds
things.
it reminds me of this.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, it's probably similar shape, probably seamless, and honestly, it can basically, like, listen, these things are remarkable. They can do extraordinary things that our technology just, you know, at least in public, can't do. So, and we're seeing this repeatedly. We're seeing the same technologies time and again.
Do you not find that there's a little bit of a problem though with all this missing footage? Because it's almost like so what's going on here, Oz, in your mind?
What's
This
going
is what I
on in
want
my
to know.
mind? They're
In
trying to
terms
show us
in
some things without showing us other things, which is
But
basically
who has it? Who has the footage? You know, is Corbell holding something back, or he just being drip fed?
honestly, if he actually record, listen, we have stories from other ufologists where they are actually given access to stuff like uh, um, let's see, like Greer talks about having been taken to like secret facilities, you know, and being allowed to be showing things. Also, Dan D'Antonio, the ufologist, actually spoke about being allowed on a submarine and actually seeing like the like you know like what happens on the sub when they actually dealing with one of these uh, extraterrestrial craft. Um, so that's not unheard of in this field. Uh, if Corbell is being allowed to do that, then you know, then of course he's being allowed to do that. He's probably basically respecting certain rules. And like, I mean, honestly, if they're generous enough to help you to get what we need to get, like, and there's a few things you can't talk about, you know, you'd be a fool to insist on talking about them.
So do you think that it is kind of like he's been him and George a bit, because it's almost like a shift for me, you know. And when we're talking about me and you, we go way back with TTSA, and it's literally like these are two boys now. You know, the shift from DeLong, it's kind of it seems to be George and Corbell, mainly Corbell.
Hmm.
It's like Corbell has taken DeLong's place.
No, that's the thing. I would imagine that Tom DeLonge is very busy right now. Tom DeLonge has a different job at the moment. There's a lot that's going on, and he has to build TTSA. So I mean, there's a lot that's going to happen because of this, all around. Uh, you know, this is a super loaded subject, and a lot of like, you know, again, like I imagine a lot of crazy stuff is going to occur uh, in the next couple of weeks and months. Things
But
could change a lot.
would you agree though that there is definitely a shift from TTSA, and it's kind of like it's being like put on onto Corbell?
Well, yeah, for now, Corbell is the it guy. So between
Is
him
it,
and Elizondo, it seems.
so where does this put you in terms of your faith in TTSA?
This is exactly what I wanted. What are you talking about? This is only going on because of TTSA. I mean, honestly, people talk about Elizondo. They talk about Mellon. Who introduced us to these guys? Who was responsible for bringing them out? Is Tom DeLonge. And Tom DeLonge is responsible for all of this directly, immediately.
So
Tom
do you
DeLonge deserves our huge praise, you know, and the fact that that people are still trying to pretend like he didn't do what he's done, the cognitive dissonance from people within ufology, it's kind of disgusting, to tell you the truth. I'm very disappointed in a lot of people in ufology that are basically jealous and angry that they, you know, like and they offered opportunities too, man. They said, we're going to do this. Please help us invest.
Okay,
They
but
asked for our
I
help.
think when we're talking about some of the people that you may think, I think sometimes jealousy can be confused with people being frustrated.
Oh,
You know,
yes. No. I think it's
because it's a very frustrating subject. You have to admit that when we're being
yes, but when you see
drip
where we've
fed,
gotten, when you see where we've gotten in the last 3 years, and how we've gotten from basically nowhere, we were going nowhere fast for like 60 years plus. And then all of a sudden we went from 0 to, like, 50 in 3 years. That's extraordinarily fast, you know? And the fact that we're picking up momentum, that we're not stopping, we're just getting faster and faster, and more is coming out, you
so
know?
you think that this is enough? These pieces of footage that we've got, that this is like
I don't know that no, it's probably not enough, but more is coming. A lot more is coming. I mean, you know this. People know this. If you're paying attention, you know that this is what's going on.
my worry though, Oz. My worry with this is the kind of the narrative of this. And I saw Rich speaking about this on Goof on Radio last night, well, this morning, and I think some people might think that people like me and him, we don't want this to happen, or whatever. But I think the worry here is when it they keep calling it a threat. Not only that, that we kind of like dished out these pieces of footage, but then there's not enough to back them up. So I know that you're saying, yeah, Mick West got that wrong, but why not give us more to it so Mick West can't get it wrong? Mick
Dude,
West. Then when you get the debunker that actually goes, you know what,
that's all
this is a fucking
happening.
UFO.
That's all happening. Things are scheduled to start being released more and more closer we get to this declassification. And not only that, there are people that in politics that have stated that they have more to say once the report is out. So this is not, again, this isn't going anywhere. This is just going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to be, I don't think it's possible at this point to walk it back. There's a
No, no,
lot
I
that's
agree.
happening. There's not, I mean, honestly, like, this is going to happen. This was always going to happen. I've been predicting this was going to happen.
But
That chatter,
what is going to happen?
basically disclosure, even if it's a small d disclosure, even if it's not everything, we're going to get a whole lot of disclosure. I mean, we already have. I mean, honestly, we have video footage and the military saying that these are craft, they exist, they're defying the laws of physics, and they're definitely around.
But
Like,
would you agree to the untrained eye that these craft maybe don't look like they're defying the laws of physics? Do you
no,
get what? So okay, you show this piece of footage or any of them to somebody who's not into UFOs, somebody who maybe you show this to my gran. What's the person that doesn't eat, breathe, and sleep this subject going to think of that footage?
well, they could dismiss it as just kind of grainy and out there and not anything relative to themselves, but that would be a mistake, because this is going to be, and, like, call it a hunch. We'll just say it's a hunch. I think that things are on their way that are going to make it so that it's harder for people like that to ignore or pretend that it's not happening, or that it is happening but it's somehow irrelevant.
Because that's what you're going to need. For my mum and dad, you're going to need like actual, really good video footage of craft people showing pieces of metal or what
Yeah,
have you. People
yeah,
showing
no,
this is what that's disclosure in my mind. Is the whole world understanding it?
yeah. I think
That's the
that that's I
disclosure.
think that's I think that's going to happen, but, like, you should also understand there are going to be holdouts. There are going to be religious people that are going to insist this is demons still. Kind of like uh, when Alexander Graham Bell demonstrated the telephone. Uh, there was a famous physicist who was in charge of the National Academy of Sciences. He went to a demonstration, and he refused to believe that this existed, and denounced it as a fraud. that guy was Mick West for his time. You know, this is not unusual in the history of science. In fact, this is how things go. There's always these people that insist that the old paradigm is correct, even when it's not. Even after everybody starts, I'm saying, man, like we're talking on a phone. How did that theory go down?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying there. I mean, but I think so in Mick West's eyes, he's debunked that. He's
Yeah.
debunked both of them now. In
Hmm.
his eyes, he's done that. But
Yes.
he does put across a very good argument. And his argument is, I won't do this. You show me more. You show me the proof, that you show me some more footage to back this up. Give me dates, give me times. Yes, we've got the dates and times on there, but we've got little pieces missing in this, and it's just like what happened in that little
Well, and once
piece.
again, they probably showed something that leaked certain types of capabilities that they don't want out there. The same way that the FLIR and Go Fast and Gimbal were also edited, and you didn't see everything, and this is par for course. This seems to be how we are doing things now, or at least how we're
Okay,
getting this
so
information from the military.
if they showed something that they maybe shouldn't have shown, why were they filming it on a mobile phone?
Because he was probably at the command center, and then they allowed him to film that. Honestly, they people were saying that like they were surprised that cell phone was even allowed there. Trust me, dude. I don't think Corbell is. Listen, if Corbell were really breaking national security like rules, like he would be doing this from Venezuela, and he's not. Like we've seen what happens when you do stuff outside the system. You get treated like Edward Snowden. You get treated like Julian Assange. That's not what's happening here. And yet clearly there something is going on. This isn't a hoax, this isn't a fraud. In fact, it's getting more and more serious. So is this being allowed? Yes, absolutely. All the more reason why I believe that this is going to happen.
You have to understand the people's frustrations with this, though, because this is what we keep getting. We keep getting these, and it wouldn't surprise me if we get another two of these. You
Oh
know,
yeah, no, that's true. But given the fact that we've also like, dude, we're getting these, and we used to have nothing. I think that those people are idiots and spoiled brats that don't get what's going on. Like after all this time, we're finally getting something like real tangible, great stuff, but it's not good enough to your, highfalutin standards. Who are you? What did you
yeah.
do to help make this happen? Or what have you done that was better than any of this? I see a lot of people complaining that have not contributed as much.
So you trust these guys? You trust. I know you trust TTSA.
Yes.
You trust Corbell.
Uh, Somewhat, yes. I mean, as much as I can. Somebody I don't know and haven't never met. So far, everything seems to be reliable, and it's pushing the can down the road. And like that used to never happen. So like honestly, and even if it's not perfect, let's go with this. We can sort it all out after we get this done. Grow up.
I mean, so I've said this to you many times. I'm no ufologist. I just generally I find the subject very entertaining, and it really makes me, excited. But I wouldn't I wouldn't put Corbell down as a ufologist, but sometimes it's like he tries to talk like one.
Listen, I would say that he is a ufologist. I mean, like, what is a ufologist? Somebody that dedicates their time and their energy and their resources to try to get the story out or do research in the field. The guy was involved in the citizens hearing back in 2013. He's been doing this for several years. Just because he didn't like run around on the MUFON lecture circuit, doesn't mean he's not a ufologist. Dude, like honestly, he's like he is. I mean, what more would you want? I mean, like, it's not like they hand out degrees in this subject, you know, and they don't, because basically they've been trying to hide this for so long. In fact, they need to have some type of like formal ufological like education like certificate. That would help a lot, perhaps. You know, turn it into an actual science.
I guarantee you put Corbell in a room with you, Oz, you'll probably know more about different
Yes,
UFO
I
cases than he
probably
will.
would. Yes, I
So,
probably
so,
would.
so
But I've been
here's
doing this
the,
longer than he has.
but
But
this
that
is
being
this
said,
this is my argument here. With so he's been given this piece of these. He's been given the pieces of footage. Yeah,
yeah,
you know, I don't think he ever questions it. I don't think he ever questions any of it. I think he'll just put it out. I think if somebody chucked an Xbox controller up in the air and filmed it, you know,
well,
he'd put
that
that
also
out there.
depends. Well, that's the thing. We don't know. Also, we don't know where he's getting this from. So perhaps where he's getting this
And that's
from
no
is
disrespect to Jeremy Corbell.
no. But dude, honestly, it's like,
I think you know,
if he is getting
to
this
give
from
him
very high up, he should release it, even if it is fake. You know, if somebody that high up is giving you something that's supposed to be UFO footage, you should show it. You know, um, like what else is he supposed to do? I mean, like the standards that people use, you know, are just like honestly, people are just nitpicking. They're nitpicking, and they're going to continue to nitpick until like things are said and done. And then when that happens, then they're going to be like, "Oh well, I knew it." Like the hell you did.
okay, so let's go back to the Hudson Valley sighting. So you had a personal experience as a boy with
Yes,
a craft above your head,
yeah, absolutely.
literally above your head on the rooftops in New York. Now, when you think back to that and you look at everything that's being shown to us now, can you relate to that?
Uh,
To
to
to these
to what I specifically
to the
saw,
blobs that we're seeing, to what you saw up close and personal?
not in that regard, no. But there's been other things that I've seen and witnessed that are kind of like that, or could be something similar. Um, you know, not the tic tac or the sphere and the cubes and the spheres, but perhaps something like the how would I the most recent footage. I'm not sure if I want to. What do I want to call that? The I guess it's a sphere that goes into the water. The new
Yeah.
footage.
So it goes this. Like I say, I actually did a fun. Yeah, the sphere that goes into the water.
Yeah.
Yes. So this thing, when it enters the water, when we're saying zero inertia, there would be nothing, no splash, nothing. It
Yeah.
would just
It would just
it would
pass through.
literally pass through that like it
Yeah.
was
Like listen,
passing through air.
they pass through the water basically as easily as they pass through the air. You know, and it's not that they slow down. You know, they just go where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is being filmed um from quite some distance anyway, so I actually don't, even if there was a splash, I don't actually know if you would see a splash from that distance. But you saw the flare footage that Mick West showed, and how
Yeah.
that goes on the horizon. It did look like it.
All right. Well, that's fine. I mean, well, you can do a lot with footage with cameras these days. It doesn't mean that it's not real. I mean, honestly, uh, am I supposed to not believe World War II didn't happen because I saw Band of Brothers? Or am I supposed to believe that Band of Brothers was the real World War II footage because the old footage is grainy?
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying, don't you? If when he's putting this out there, so there's one half that is trying to get you to believe in this footage as being real, as being possibly it's extraterrestrial, or maybe a craft that's from another country. That is scary if it is.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It is. You believe it's extraterrestrial?
Yeah, it's not craft from other countries. That's just an argument that they're using. Actually, oh my goodness, what is his name? Daniel Sheehan actually gave a really interesting interview on Grant Cameron's channel, and I would recommend everybody go and watch it. And in it, he actually goes into great detail as to what's actually the conversations that are being happening behind the scenes with the people involved. And he confirms that they know that this is not Chinese or Russian, that this is just it's kind of a placeholder, to try to get this done.
Yeah, the
'Cause
Mellon said on
there's
Joe
still,
Rogan that he thought it was drones, extraterrestrial drones.
yes,
In so many words, he said that.
yeah, and that's basically what's going on. That's what this is. This is like, these semantical arguments. This that like whatever, man. I'm glad that this. I'm hoping that this is the end of that, or the beginnings of the end of that. Because the debates are tiring, and they don't get anything done, even after the more evidence comes out to prove that this is what's going on, and yet those debates still continue. I mean, like, how long are we like? How much time did we waste, debating whether or not Lou Elizondo was who he claimed to be? How much time was wasted?
There's still people debating that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're still wrong, aren't they? Like, I mean, what more do you want? People are on camera, they got documentation. They got people are on camera talking about this. You got Daniel Sheehan representing him. And like he and Chris Mellon are actually both being represented by Daniel Sheehan now, because there are legal implications to what they've done and what's going on. All these things would not be happening if they weren't telling the truth. Quite frankly, and this idea that somehow this is going to go away it's laughable. Things have changed. Things have changed, and they're not going back to ho-hum ufology. These are people that have lived in ufology as it always existed, and we've transitioned from that. We're not going back.
So we have spoke for years now, and you've usually told me when something was going to drop in terms of some footage, or you never told me anything about this. You did say that there was another 2 pieces of footage coming, and that was probably about a year ago.
And we got 2 pieces of footage.
But where are you getting this information from?
I do a lot of research. I speak to a lot of people. And part of it is knack. I know this subject like the back of my hand. I know a lot about this subject. I have a lot of connections in related fields. You might be surprised who talks to me. Basically, it's a combination of those things.
So do you know, is there anything else? Do you know what may be coming?
I have a good idea.
Can you share that?
Well,
if it's just an idea, Oz, take a gamble.
Well, yeah.
For once, take a gamble. Let's spice it up.
Okay, sure. I believe that there's going to be more video footage coming out. I believe that there's going to be more in regards to the metamaterials. In fact, Jacques Vallée did an interview on engaging the phenomena, and he was speaking about the fact that there is a peer review paper coming out. So that's going to be a big deal when that happens. And again, that's dealing with the wreckage, the material wreckage that has been recovered.
Is this the one in where was it now? Brazil?
I'm not sure. He's working on another. I'm not sure if it's the Murabutu stuff, but it could very well be.
Right. Well, so they have pieces of this craft.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Well, you've seen photos of them.
It just seems to me that, if if you're an advanced alien species and you accidentally crash, you're gonna have a shit hot recovery team to kind of clean that shit up.
Well, this is the thing. There are stories of some of the crashes getting retrieved. There
And
are cases.
why would they crash?
Why does anybody crash? I mean, like honestly, just because they're super advanced doesn't mean they're perfect. They could have made a mistake. There could have been an accident. Perhaps we
I
did
don't
something.
believe that. I don't believe that for a second. I do not believe for 1 second if a species can, literally transmedium whatever through water, a transmedium craft, it has the ability to be able to manipulate the space in front of it. I think these things, the navigation on them would be insane. I think it would be like 1 in a million that one of these things could actually
Well,
crash.
they don't happen all the time, and so it could be that 1 in a million time. Also, there's also indications that we might be doing things to try to knock them down, which I
That's what I'm
totally,
after.
yeah,
That's what I'm after,
which
Oz.
I totally, I believe that there are people that would do such a thing. Like I totally do. Um, I would not be shocked or surprised. And there's like, there's already anecdotal stuff is starting to come out about pieces getting shot off of UFOs. So if those scales, I mean, if you scale up over decades, I would not be surprised if there weren't attempts to like grab whole ones, or at least try to down them, or say one of them is having technical difficulties and they make sure that it can't leave, like they tried to do with the that Canadian case where the UFO was downed and the submarine surrounded it for several days. And then basically the extraterrestrials got out of the craft underwater, fixed the craft, and then took off.
I have never heard of this case.
No, oh my goodness, the name is escaping me right now.
I'm not a ufologist though, Oz. You know this. So,
Yeah.
this sounds. When was
Canada.
this?
This was in the '60s in Canada. Gosh, why is it now? It's blanking. Oh my goodness.
So
whatever.
in the 60s, a craft was under the water,
Yeah,
surrounded by submarines.
yeah. Basically, it crashed into the water and people saw it. And it started
When you say
releasing.
people, you're talking Navy.
Yeah, no. Like civilians saw this. Like this was and this was like in a Canadian fishing town where this had occurred. And what happened was is that the UFO was basically underwater for like days, and apparently several U.S. submarines had come circling it, and we tried to engage it, and apparently we had sent divers to go see what was going on with the UFO, and the divers came back saying that there were extraterrestrials in suits outside of the craft doing something. And then basically they had observed them for several days. The extraterrestrials eventually got their craft working again, and then it basically just flew off into space.
That is wild.
Yeah, no, there's stories like this, good stories, real credible stuff.
What, and this had eyewitnesses that saw this,
Yes,
like
yes,
civilians that
lots,
saw this thing.
lots, dude. There was a community of people that were there when this thing crashed, or not nearly crashed, but was downed. It was having difficulties, and it was repaired and they left. So, like, I'm sorry, like sometimes they screw up.
I have such trouble believing that something that is that advanced can screw up like that.
Well, dude, that's
They forgot to put some fuel in the tank.
Yeah, but dude, that's like going to like a primitive society, and they're like, wow, man, you flew over, like you're in some jungle in South America. You meet people that have never seen anybody from the outside world, and you tell them about like how you got there, how you flew from England in a giant bird, and you landed in South America, and how you rode on this thing that like wasn't an animal, and you know, and you got this magic phone that you can talk to people from all over the world. You know, that's like them saying like, wow, that's amazing. Now please resurrect the dead for me.
So how many years do you believe that they're ahead of us?
Oh, how many years? Judging by where we're going now, at least 100. At least 100, and probably much more.
See, 100 years. If they were 100 years ahead of us, then I would believe that they could have a mistake and crash.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No,
but Bob Lazar, he said in the Joe Rogan
that was
interview that he did
crap. Yeah,
that it was
that
an
it was
ancient craft. They'd
excavated.
been
Yeah, but ancient craft circa when? Maybe those people were 100 years ahead of where we were going to be now. You know, 10,000 years ago. You know
why
that
why do you say 100 years though? 100 years
just
ahead of us.
that's a generalization. I would say that
Is that what
the
you
longest.
generally believe, or
I think
are you
that
just saying that because I said about them crashing?
no, I think that looking at where we're at now and where we seem to be going, you know, with things like the singularity happening now, you know, or will be happening shortly. Uh, I'm thinking that they are between maybe 50 to 100 years ahead of us, at least, you know, in terms of our ability to approximate like rudimentary level technologies like that. You know, however, that could be completely wrong. If we do have crash materials and we're observed, you know, and we're figuring out how those things work now, and we're going to have like AI soon and things like that, we could be maybe 20 years away from a lot of that stuff.
Thank you, Muted Matrix. I'm glad you dig the guests and the show. That's awesome, my friend, and thanks for the support. Yeah, I mean, I often think that whatever is operating these crafts may be just an AI, may not
For
actually
sure.
be a physical being, because
Yeah, that's entirely
there's a
possible. At the same time, there are physical beings located. You know, like again, that's one of the things that isn't being talked about in the conversation right now. Is not now the conversation was like, okay, we've been seeing these things since 2005. Now, in the last couple of days, they're saying, well, like these are very similar to things that have been seen across decades. Eventually, they're going to have to talk about beings seen in and around these same craft and the similarities between those beings all over the world, though there are differences.
That's interesting from Rich. He says the reason the government won't give us disclosure is because if the technology gets into the public, someone will back engineer it and make a weapon.
Yeah, that's no, I'm sorry. There's going to be good and bad with that. That's like saying, well, they won't let 3D printers come out because people can make rail guns with them, but they're making them anyway.
Yeah,
You
but
know, like
if this technology is that advanced, I'm sure no matter how peaceful an alien race is, if it's traveling, billions of light years or whatever to get here, or millions, whatever, it's going to have something to protect itself. And if that does get into the wrong hands, I have
well,
to agree
listen,
with.
no, I look at it this way. We might
I mean,
not have.
look at us. Look at us. Look at us.
Yes, I know. Listen,
Look at the
if
human
you're
race.
waiting for perfection, it's just not going to happen. Honestly, we might just listen. We might be in such a precarious situation where we might just have to take our chances, and maybe all of us don't make it. Maybe most of us don't. You know, again, if you're looking for a perfect situation, keep waiting because it's never going to happen. Disclosure is not going to be perfect either. You know, like oh, they're waiting for us to all like vibrate in unison and sing kumbaya. No, that's not in our nature. That's not what's going to happen with this. You know, there will be improvements, I guess, in the overall human condition, but there's also going to be like drawbacks, like anything else. It's important not to see this as an ideologue. You know, just to like you're setting yourself up for failure. You know, and disappointment in that regard. Um, again, this is a very, very loaded subject, and there's plenty of room for a lot of crazy things, both good and bad, to result from it. In fact, that's the only thing that's inevitable: crazy, good, and bad that will result from this.
Okay, but will my mother understand disclosure?
Not really. Most human beings won't. I don't think that. I think there's going to be recoil for this. Like, people were literally educated against this for 3 generations, and then you're going to pop this up on them. There's going to be recoil. Like, like guys like me will be fine, but most people aren't people like me. And maybe your kids will be fine because they're very young and they're going to grow up with this. They're going to learn about this in school. There's, that all the other kids will too. So that's like that. In that regard, they will be like me, somebody that was a child and had this, thrown at him, pretty consistently. So maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm different than everybody else. In this regard, why I'm fine with this.
Am I right by saying it was your, other than the sighting, it was your mum was already studying UFOs?
Yeah, my mother and my grandmother were both into UFOs big time.
So it's kind of like gone down through the generations.
Yeah, no, it's not even kind of like there's some other stories too in that regard that I'm not gonna talk about just yet.
You've got your own channel coming soon.
Yes, I do. And I'll be talking about a lot of more interesting things. I'm going to be showing some stuff that people haven't seen yet. Open secrets, things that are out there if you know where to look. And as you know, I've been working on a special project also that I'm going to be.
How is that coming along?
That's coming along fine. Right now, I'm trying to concentrate on getting a show up and out, and then as things progress, I'm going to be going forward with that, and it'll be very interesting. And again, it's going to be something that most people don't know about, but has been around for a while. And now people need to look at it with new eyes, given what we know and what's been going on and what's going to continue to go on.
So going back to the actual footage, because I did say that we would talk about this footage. I'm going to play it going into the ocean at normal speed, 50% and 25% for you here, and you tell me exactly what you see. So that's normal speed.
Mm-hmm.
We got 50% there.
Mm-hmm. It seems like it goes down, goes up again, and goes back down.
That's 25.
And it goes down. And back up again, and then down.
So you think it popped underneath the water and then like popped back up again?
It could be. It could be. Who knows? It depends on the angle of how that was shot and other factors. But yeah.
So you believe it definitely went under the water?
It most probably did. At the same time, these things drop from orbit to about a foot off the ocean and then go back up into orbit. So, like, maybe it moved so quickly. Maybe it moved so quickly that it didn't splash in the water, just went back up into orbit.
Who was the director of Flight of the Navigator?
I forgot. It was a European movie that actually got picked up by Disney.
Because he pretty much got that spot on then.
Yeah.
Because that thing did that. It went straight up, and then it went and stopped directly over the ocean. Then it went into the water.
Yeah.
Made a splash though.
Pardon?
It made a splash though. It actually made a physical splash.
I didn't see it. If it did.
No, in the movie. But it is a movie.
Okay. The Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, I can't get my head around that. I can't get my head. I can't get my head around an object entering water at high speed and not making as much as a ripple.
Yeah. Well, no. Well,
it messes with my brain.
These things like again, they defy the laws of physics. They basically they do things that are technically supposed to be impossible, but they do them, and they do them pretty easily and with impunity.
So when was the first case that you heard of them going underwater like that?
Gosh, there have always been stories. My ancestors were Taino Indians. When Columbus first came over to the United States or to the Americas, he saw UFOs coming in and out of the oceans,
How many years ago was that?
like 1492.
So not 100.
No, like well beyond that, like about 500 years. And these stories also go back even further than that. But but going back to Columbus, uh, my ancestors would tell them like, no, there's like lights over here, and they're sky people and things like that. And they were like, oh no, that's BS. That's not true. And then sure enough, yes, it was true.
So you do believe that they've been here for a long time?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, 100%. This is not new. This is not new. Like the Romans used to call them sky shields.
So when
And
you
they used
said
to do the
100
same stuff.
years, when you said that our technology is 100 years
I
behind
said that our
theirs,
technology is about 100 years away from being able to do a lot of the things that they're doing. It doesn't mean that like they're stagnant or waiting for us to catch up.
because that's my argument with the crashing bit. You know, if they've been here for thousands and thousands of years, you know, surely they would have absolutely, you know, troubleshooted every little piece, got everything perfect, you know.
Yeah, well, you mean like Elon does with SpaceX?
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
space. How long SpaceX been going for?
pardon?
How long SpaceX been going for?
Yeah. Well, the point is though, like, listen, you
Even NASA, you know, us going into space, we're just babies.
listen. Just because just because their technology is super advanced doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean that they're perfect either. Like I said, there's a myriad of problems. You can sometimes crash by accident. They could make things look like a crash and deliberately see things. There's reasons to believe that happens sometimes too. It's not like it's not one or the other because there's different situations that indicate that it's a myriad of causes. Some of it could be human interference, like I've said. Some of it could be an accident. Some of it could be done deliberately. They do seem to be dropping stuff off from time to time.
So I've had other guests on before that have spoke about other beings, like different species, you know, and possibly some of the other species maybe not getting along with some of the other species. You know, there is maybe one species is trying to protect the planet, another species is, you know, after the gold.
It could be, or both. Maybe both are indifferent and just happen
So
to be
I'm
where
wondering
they're
if,
like.
you know, maybe they have their little, because there was an old painting. I can't remember from how long ago, and it had loads of circles and cigars in the sky. It's called,
Oh, the German
oh,
one?
yeah, yeah, and that looks like a battle going on in the
Oh
sky.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Not only that, if you see like there's pieces that fell and there was smoke coming out of the ground,
Yeah,
and there's stories of the townspeople finding those things and melting it down to make stuff.
what a waste.
Yeah, yeah, but there's also rumors that there was stuff that from that particular instance that made it, and somehow the Nazis got a hold of it.
Are you talking about the bell here that the Nazis got?
No, well, that might be where that came from, or at least or where the inspiration for it came from, and maybe they were trying to make a crude version of it, but it obviously it didn't work. I mean, we're not driving Volkswagens or speaking Sie Deutsch, so
I drive a Volkswagen.
oh well,
Hey, the Germans make amazing cars.
yeah.
Yeah, uh, such a beautiful country as well. Food's amazing.
Yeah,
The the whole I have heard that the rumors with this that the the whole reason why the Nazis ended up going to um, the Antarctic was because it was to get some sort of technology. You
Well, they
heard
were
about
looking
that?
for stuff. Yeah, well, the Anno Nerva was everywhere trying to do everything to see what they could get. I wouldn't be shocked that they would attempt to do that. You know, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they even succeeded to an extent. You know,
Because I had
honestly,
a sorry,
if
go
you
on.
ran a government or a world power, you would probably try to do the same thing.
Because I had an email, and I think I can't remember who it was off now, but somebody gave me a quite in depth story about the Roswell crash and the whole reason why the military said they had a craft, a UFO crashed and retracted it was because what they actually realized what they had was a
The Burton
Nazi,
wing.
a Nazi.
Yeah, Burton wing. Yeah. I don't know why they would retract that. Like, oh, quick, let's hide this Nazi technology. Let's say it's aliens. That's not a good excuse or a good cover story. That's actually kind of like, that's taking one thing and using something worse to hide it with. You know, like
Yeah,
it
but
might have made it would have made. Listen, people back then, you know, like listen, you have to understand. Everybody thinks that there was this clean ending of World War II. Hitler died, and then that was it. No, the same problems that we have in America had with the Iraqi insurgency were the same types of problems that we're having. The American military were having in Germany till the 1960s. You know, people forget that there was a lot of terrorism in Germany, a lot of Nazi groups. They had to literally stop these. They had to they didn't give up. They didn't just give up. You know what I'm saying? Um, uh, uh, it's not ever that clean.
well, nothing's ever clean when it
Yeah.
comes to
So like
that
it
type
just
of.
makes more sense. Like, listen, people knew about this. This was like we don't know because we weren't around. In the late 40s, early 50s, and mid 50s and 60s. People would have probably. People also thought Hitler escaped. People probably would have been. If this was a secret Nazi attempt at trying to do something and it failed, people would have been, aha, I knew it. And they would have been back to their lives because they're used to dealing with Nazis. They'd spent their last 5 years doing nothing but dealing with Nazis. They were used to Nazis, and they were used to Nazis having advanced technology. This would not have been a big mindfuck. Aliens would have been a total mindfuck, and it still is.
Oh, definitely, it's definitely a mindfuck.
Like you can the cognitive dissonance that people have shown all these decades towards this subject, the hostility towards this subject, is proof of that. It's like it just makes more sense if they were hiding something that they a lot scarier than Nazis to them.
Do you think they still have this bell? Somebody somewhere?
They've got a lot of stuff. I doubt they threw it away. I doubt they misplaced it.
Where's the rumors of where that actually came from?
There's some people say it was the Nazis. Well, the bell is built by the Nazis. There's rumors that it might have been what ended up crashing at Kecksburg, but I'm not certain of that. Though it is a possibility.
And do you think they got the technology for that when they went to the Antarctic?
I don't know. I don't
It
know
was just
much
weird
about
that Hitler sent, apps. I don't think there was hundreds
Yeah,
of
no, he
Nazis
did.
that went to Antarctica.
Yeah, and then they sent a bunch to Argentina, even more to Argentina.
Seems to be a lot of interest in Antarctica.
Oh yes, absolutely. There's most probably something going on there. Honestly,
I
the
think it's the wall.
the extraterrestrials seem to like to build facilities in places that are remote, be it deep in the oceans or in the mountains. And there's few places that are as remote as Antarctica. So that's almost like the perfect place to have facilities, especially if you're not worried about the cold and other such things, because your technology makes you impervious to those factors. So If I were a betting man, I'd say they would absolutely have some type of facilities in Antarctica. If they have facilities in remote places at all on the Earth, which they seem to. So yeah, now to what extent have those been penetrated by human beings, Americans, Russians, or Nazis? I have no, or otherwise, I have no real clue. I hear rumors like everybody else does, and do I believe it's a strong possibility? Yes, but I can't give you any details.
So, through all of this that's gone off over the last, feels like the last 7 years now. Well, 6 years, 5 years,
That's since
7.
2015, more or
Yeah.
less. That's when things really started breaking, and then 2017 was when like TTSA officially formed and like videos started coming out.
Have you ever been suspicious about any of it? Like, that there seems to be, we seem to be kind of like shifted in a certain direction.
Yes, this is not suspicious. There's nothing suspicious. It would be suspicious as if it wasn't. That would be odd and unusual. People with listen, money and power manipulating stuff from behind the scenes. That's how everything is done. I live in New York City. I've seen it my whole life every day. In fact, in New York, we get stuff a bit sooner than the rest of you do. In a lot of ways, and not just in terms of entertainment, but in a lot of other things as well. This is how stuff is done. And the idea that, oh well, that's not suspicious. It's not suspicious at all. That's how it happens. That's just like people that don't know not getting that this is how it's done.
So you don't think you're going to be sat here in 10 years' time going, disclosure's just around the corner. You think this is it now. We get it. The build up is here, and this is going to hit next month.
Yeah, I think it's going to start to. I think there's going to be years of recoil. I think there's going to be years more of revelations that are going to come out. There's a lot. They're doing baby steps. They're definitely doing baby steps. Like I said before, up until recently, they just wanted to talk about UFOs that had happened from 2015 to now. Now they're talking about this going back decades. Again, like we have the aerial a documentary coming out, which I think is going to be very popular, and that's going to start talking about occupants.
What documentary is that? Sorry,
the aerial phenomena.
Right, when's that out?
Good question. It should be out soon.
Who's doing it? Directing it and what have you? Whose documentary is it?
It's the aerial phenomenon. We've talked about it, about the Zimbabwe school children.
Oh yeah. But who's the guy that's doing the documentary?
I forget his name. I've met him a bunch of times. He's an experiencer out of New York City.
Okay, so he's one of the good guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
He used to work with Bud intensely and John Mack.
Do you actually think that a disclosure could be a bad thing?
No,
this time right now,
I think problems and all will all be in a better situation once this is out.
Without getting into trouble on YouTube. But I'm talking about at the time we live in right now. Do you think it's a good time for this?
Yes, I think it's necessary. I think now is much better than later. There's like honestly, this is not going to be better later on. It's time to
there will be some people that'll say, whatever next, they're going to tell us that Santa Claus is real next, because what we've been through for the last 2 years, well, year and a bit, whatever, 2 years, is insane. It's been mind draining for everybody. And the world has been in uproar. People getting sick, people poorly, people's actually mental state as well. You know, that's played a
Yeah,
massive
so
factor into all this. And
all
then
the
you're
more
gonna
reason.
drop, and then you're gonna
Yes.
drop disclosure on us.
Yeah, all the more reason. All the more reason that now is a good time. If you're waiting for us to like I'm sorry, like we're not gonna become perfect and then this is gonna happen. This is not gonna that's just unrealistic. That's not how history works. You know, and that's not how this is going to work either. This was never going to be this reward for being good. That's that mentality. That's this weird mentality that people have. You know, you have to be perfected before you can have contact with these beings and things like nonsense. Absolute nonsense. If you had to be perfect before you dealt with extraterrestrials, no one would be dealing with them, let alone almost exclusively the military directly.
Okay. That brings me on to my next question. So I hear this all the time. You know, it was on 60 Seconds. It's been mentioned quite a few times on Joe Rogan when he's interviewed certain people. People calling this a threat. Do you believe that this is a threat?
From a security standpoint, yes, absolutely, it's a threat. When somebody can come in and out of your airspace, or even like, dude, they're not just coming into our airspace; they're coming inside our facilities, apparently, as well. That's also one of the developments that's going to be probably coming out sooner than
Yeah,
later.
they shut down some nuclear
Yes,
missiles,
they're shutting down nuclear weapons and then starting them up in other
and
situations.
so they should
Yes,
get
exactly.
rid of the
Now,
nukes.
are they fucking with us? Probably. Most probably, yeah, they do fuck with us from time to time. There's many cases of this. This whole kumbaya philosophy doesn't suit us very well. That being said, they're not a menace. Do you get what I'm
Okay,
saying?
yes. So
Like
that's so.
there can be issues, but they're
How do
not.
you know then? How do you know this?
Well, they don't seem to be. They
How do
don't
you know?
seem to be
Why?
a
How do
menace.
you know they don't seem to be?
Well, we're not being nuked from orbit. We're not. You know what I'm saying?
Vaporized.
Yeah. If COVID was their attempt at destroying us with a virus, it failed. Uh, you know.
I'll say that, or else I'll get into trouble for that.
Sorry, but like perhaps they're incompetent. But
He's joking, YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. That if, but maybe, so there are some people that do say that they have been here for a long time, and it's not so much a war or anything like that, but they just see us as they use us, you know, to
Well,
get
it
what
could be,
they
yeah,
want.
but that's the thing. Define a threat. Like you know, and I'm saying like I think like are they a threat in the military sense of the word? Yes, absolutely. However, I believe that other people are using like this idea. Oh, look, they're a threat to prop themselves up as these wonderful, peaceful people that are super evolved spiritually. That's why they're against the threat narrative, and it's like you're taking that out of context. Either you don't understand it yourself, or you do understand it and you're trying to use it against people that don't understand it to prop yourself up, you know, to play a martyr, you know, to a cause. That's what that is, quite clearly.
Would you not agree though? If I mean, do you believe that one of them did crash in 1947 in Roswell?
Yes, and I believe that others have crashed before that.
And do you believe that they got the craft, they got the body?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody knows what these are about. So somebody above the people who the melons of this world, the Lus, you know, the DeLongs, whatever. Somebody is right, you know, way, way, way above these guys that knows exactly what it is, that knows whether it's a threat or not.
Yeah, well, maybe not exactly what it is. They have a much, much better idea about what's actually going on than the rest of us do. Sure. up to and including that they are extraterrestrials. But that could just be the tip of the iceberg, and it probably is. This is like, I mean, there's so much, like, even after that all comes out, we will be left with more questions than answers.
So we send our first craft ever, SpaceX in the year, 2058 or whatever. We land on our very first planet that has, I'm speaking hypothetically here, uh,
Yeah.
intelligent life on it, and we crash. One of our crafts crash, and they get our bodies and they start operating on them. Maybe one of us is still alive. One of Because that's the rumor that one of the aliens was
Yeah.
still alive. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, they did an episode of Star
We
Trek
we
where they wrote-
usually we usually don't leave a man down, don't as humans.
Yeah.
Or either that, or I believe that if that happened, well, they'd already have the technology there. We'd probably want to retrieve it or actually go and speak to these cavemen.
Well,
You
look,
know,
why even, like, honestly, unless they're anthropologists, they probably have no interest in us. I mean, honestly, like if a plane crashed in a primitive tribal area, you wouldn't necessarily want to talk to the tribesmen. You probably just want to get your guy back and whatever, like, is worth salvaging from the crash
the
and
reason
heading
why
back
I'm
home.
saying that with the Roswell crash, if you believe that there was a craft that crashed there, that there were bodies, that one of them was still alive, you know, did did mom and dad come down, in their craft and like, say, give us his shit back and
Well, I don't know. I don't think that happened in Roswell. There are stories that there have been retrievals of personnel and stuff by the extraterrestrials, and they've actually gotten their people and also some of their stuff back. In other situations, they just doesn't seem to have happened. So again, we don't have all the details in regards to that. Perhaps we will find out soon or sooner than later, hopefully.
do you think that these crafts that we're seeing on the five pieces of footage is the same species to what
Well,
crashed in Roswell?
these seem to be different craft. They're probably, they are different craft and different classes of craft. Some of them seem also to be unmanned. Others seem to actually have personnel. Um, there are similarities and there's differences in some of these cases. I believe that at the very least we're dealing with more than one species at the present time, non-human species. To what frequency, I don't know. But apparently, it's like I've been saying for years, as you remember, that the extraterrestrials have increased their interactions with us, specifically with our fighter pilots.
Yeah.
I would say that this is again, they have like changed their engagement. I think that they are also in large part responsible for this coming out. Like this, like, oh, they'll never tell us because the technology is too dangerous. Well, it's going to happen anyway, so they might as well get out ahead of it and hope for the best.
You mentioned the two species. You believe that there's two species
And I
there.
didn't say two; I said more than one, several species.
Okay, so I've heard many species mentioned in
Oh
in my
yes,
time in my time of interviewing people, but as somebody who's, I mean, would you call yourself? I mean, I call you a ufologist. Also,
of
will you
course, I'm a
call you?
ufologist.
Yeah.
I've been a
So
ufologist since I was a boy, when I started
so
giving lectures about this.
so as a ufologist, could you, if you had to put some money down on the table to say these species definitely exist, which ones would you, out of all the rumors, out of the, the what is it, the praying mantis, the
Right.
greys, the
All
Nordic
right.
blondes, which ones actually
Okay.
exist?
If I had to put money, I would say the Greys or a
Okay,
version of the Greys.
and
Most
what
certainly,
else?
absolutely do exist. 100%. Bet on that. Believe me, just bet on it. Get used to that. In fact, I think that's one of the reasons why they've been putting their faces on lunch boxes and cartoons and in T-shirts for our entire lifetimes, is because they're trying to get you used to that basic concept, so that one day when something lands in New York City and everybody sees it, you kind of sort of know what to expect. You're
Thanks
not.
for
You're
the
not.
thanks for
Pardon?
the t-shirt. Thanks for the t-shirt prompt, Oz. There you go, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Check out the merch. Sorry, go on, carry on.
But yeah, no, man, it's like I think that was deliberately done. And like I promise you, something very, very similar to those people that are deeply, deeply involved in this physically.
So the grey definitely,
Yeah.
in your eyes, it is. It's not just something that's been. Who was it that drew this thing way back when, about 100 and Alistair Crowley?
Oh yes, yes.
So
Uh,
he I mean he was a little bit messed up.
well, listen, you have to understand the occult societies, like most, like all right. When you became a dude, when you get to the higher levels of Freemasonry, one of the things they tell you about is that there's extraterrestrials. Um, if you get into the higher levels uh, of the Mormon Church, which is a lot like Freemasonry, end up finding out they're aliens. If you join the Nation of Islam, you get into the higher levels of the Nation of Islam. Guess what they start talking to you about? Aliens. Um, this is an old secret.
Not the Catholics though.
Depends on how high you get up. Again, the Catholics are holding on to a lot of stuff.
I think my wife's
Catholics,
Catholic.
and they talk a lot about
She
aliens now. They
she
sure
says I'm
do.
talking nonsense. So the Greys and what else?
I would say the Greys exist. I would say the possibility that there's some beings that look a lot like us is also very like possible. Um, and I think that there are others. I think some of these things are robots. I think we engage with robots. We've been dealing with this, but it's not simply just robots. Because we got a lot of anecdotal discussions of actual physical, like biological beings being accompanied with robotic beings or helpers of some sort. So that
Yes.
happens a lot,
So
actually.
before I had Alien Addict, I was once in the airport with my wife, and she like nearly had a panic attack, and I was, what's up with you? And she'd seen this guy in the duty free shop, big massive duty free shop with alcohol and everything there, toys, all sorts of stuff, handbags. And she said he was grey. He was tall and he was the greyest person she'd ever seen. Like not like a skin tone,
Yeah.
but it literally. She said his skin was grey, like there was something. She said it looked weird, but she said she couldn't stop staring at him, and he looked at her and smiled at her.
Mm.
And she said she said it made her feel so weird. My wife don't really believe in like aliens and stuff like that. Well, I think she kind of does now. Twisted her arm. Um, but yeah, she said that really creeped her out. And this person, this being, whatever it was. I didn't see it. She just told me, and I was trying to look because I was really into aliens and into weird stuff, and I just wanted to see it. But she said this person that had a weird like grey looking, like she said it looked rubbery, his skin
Wow.
really tall, and he looked and had a weird smile. So you don't think this like the reptilians is just is there any truth to David Icke's theory there?
I'm not big on reptilian theory at all.
No.
Not everything is on the table. I'm very conservative with ufology, like very nuts and bolts. I can vouch for the Greys. That being said, Timothy Good tells a similar story to what your wife was talking about. Something happened to him in a New York City hotel room. It's a involved story. I mean, a hotel lobby. Pardon me.
Sorry, who's Timothy Good?
Above Top Secret, famous English ufologist. You should know who
Oh,
Timothy Good is.
I know the name. I have no idea who he is though. So
Yeah.
so tell the story.
Well, no, he had an incident with somebody that he was attempting to do like a CE5 type thing, and he started projecting these thoughts like if there was an extraterrestrial around and somebody came and they did something very odd that he was projecting, and it was just like it's a very odd coincidence for that to happen. I do believe that they probably do have somebody, or if not extraterrestrials that look like us, they might have like operatives or agents that are us, or something like that. Which would be a great way to figure out what's going on with us.
And do you believe that these Greys are possibly flying these crafts that we're seeing?
Possibly,
In these.
they're seen in the craft. They're seen outside the craft.
No, I'm talking about the like the flare footage. I'm talking about the latest.
Well, I can't say that it's
sphere.
definitely them, but it's a possibility. They're getting here and they're using craft that are similar. Quite often, quite frankly.
Well, Oz, we've been going for about an hour and a half almost. So when's your when are you going to launch your channel?
Hopefully in the next week or two. Trying to get everything together. I'm going to be posting a couple of informative videos, like I said before, about some thoughts about. Pardon?
When's the big one? Is the big one going to come out first, or is that going to come out?
No, that one is going to. I'm going to drop that a few episodes in, but that one is definitely coming. I want to make sure I do a good job on that one.
And other than myself, and I hate doing this, but Osvaldo, it's going to be interesting. Does anybody else know about this research?
Yeah, you're the only person though that I talk to about the only person that I talk to that I don't personally physically know that knows what I'm doing.
But is any of the other like ufologists aware of this?
No.
Okay, that's interesting. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for it. I'm having an exclusive on it. But so what's the channel going to be? Obviously, it's going to be about ufology, but is it going to be? Are you just going to be like giving us 15-minute like little talks, or are you going to be interviewing people down the line?
It's going to be all of that. It's going to be like basically, like it's going to be me talking about UFOs, me interviewing people about UFOs, me doing research on UFOs as needed. Given the situations at hand, again, we're in a stage of flux right now. There's a lot of crazy stuff that's happened already. There's a lot more that's going to be happening. So there's certain things like my long-term project that I'm going to be working on. Then there's other stuff that I might try to do now, but delay if something bigger happens. Like we get like some major thing, like I might have to push something back.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a busy man. You're a very busy man. So this is going to be the next few weeks. What's the channel going to be called?
Right now I'm thinking the Disclosure Revolution.
I like it. You need to bring that. Was that is your stomach grumbling?
Oh yes, I'm hungry, dude. I haven't eaten all day.
I can hear your stomach from there, mate.
Good audio.
That's all. Yeah.
Ugh.
So, well, I'll let you get off and get some food, mate. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure as always. And yeah, I didn't mean to seem like I was pulling it apart, because I am excited, guys, with the footage that's come out. My only issue with this is, and I think it's a trust thing with me, because I do believe that, that Corbell's putting this out and he believes that what he's seeing, but who's giving it to them?
So listen, to me, it's not whether or not I trust Corbell. I trust the UFOs.
Yeah, but
You
you know
get
what I'm saying?
Like I
Do you-
trust in their existence. I know that this
but
is
you
going
doing
on.
before you go though, Oz, you've got to acknowledge that people are. Some people are a little bit worried about, where this is actually coming from. Who's feeding this down to these people.
Yeah, well, I'd say it's largely irrelevant.
So you've got absolute trust in it.
Yeah, no, it's not trust. It's irrelevant. You're gonna get what they're gonna give you.
Okay, so we take what we're given.
Yes, and honestly, people say these things like they have a choice. It's like, oh, what are you gonna do when they present something you don't like or you disagree with? Like really, you're going to do bitch and complain? Like,
No, I think I'm more in Lee's take on it from Must See Audio. I want to see Joe Rogan interview an alien.
That's hyperbolic. I mean, that would be great too, but it's kind of like that's the same way of like that nonsense with Neil Tyson. Like tell me when you get a dinner reservation. Like with an alien. That's like
Do you know though, out of all the people that we say that are delivering as disclosure, I think Joe Rogan seems to be doing an amazing job, because he's got them all on.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, like honestly, yeah. If you're like, dude, he has a lot of access and he's really into UFOs. I would have done the same thing. And bravo to him for doing it. I think he needs to come to Jesus in regards to Tom DeLonge. I owes Tom DeLonge a huge apology. To come at Tom DeLonge like he did, and then to change his tune like he did. Interview all these people that work with Tom and can vouch for Tom. And
Did you not find it odd? Did you not find it odd though that he interviewed Chris Mellon and not once did they speak about TTSA?
Yes, that is odd. I would like to. Again, it could also be face saving. They don't want to mention, like perhaps Rogan doesn't want to mention TTSA
No.
too much. Like a lot of these guys don't.
Mellon told him not to mention TTSA.
Really?
Because if I was Joe Rogan and I'm interviewing the Mellon, yeah, or I'm good. And if this does happen and he interviews Lou, and he doesn't ask him about TTSA, there's something going on where these guys do not want to be associated with TTSA anymore, because it was just fucking weird, Oz.
Well,
Pardon my French, but it was weird that he did not ask Mellon.
They've both actually spoken about TTSA in interviews favorably.
Yeah. Yes, I know they have, but Joe Rogan, like the biggest platform when it comes to like getting an audience or getting people's attention that may not even be into UFOs, and he doesn't speak about TTSA once to Chris Mellon. That was weird.
Not really. He wasn't there to really talk about TTSA. He was there to talk about what he did
No,
in
but
his
he spoke.
capacity.
You know, he spoke about. But that was a massive thing. You know, he had DeLong on the show.
Yes,
It was weird.
is what it is. Like I said, man, there's a
I suppose
lot
we'll
going
never
on
know.
behind. Yeah, no, there's a. Actually, no. I think we will find out. What I can say is there's a lot going on behind the scenes, like a lot, like that we do not know, and I think we're going to get to find out a bit more about that, and it'll be very interesting to see.
Well, hopefully, mate. Well, I will. I'm going to drop you out while I speak to the audience, and well, I hope to get you on again soon once your channel is released. It'd be good to get you on with a panel again as well, with some guys and girls. But yeah, thank you very much, Osvaldo Franco. You're the man,
Absolutely.
and
See you later.
I'm loving the what you're doing there with that one side.
Thank you.
I think you should grow that one side out a bit more. Love
Okay.
it. I'll speak to you in a moment, my friend. That was Osvaldo Franco, ladies and gents. I don't actually have a link to his channel because he hasn't got a channel yet. But as soon as there is a link for his channel, I will drop it in the description. Thank you so much to all the moderators. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to the super chats. Thank you guys. It means the world to me that you guys support this channel and just share the videos out, share the interviews out. I'm probably going to go back to doing some little 15-minute skit videos, or I might even just do some like little takes from. I've done some takes from interviews before where I know some of you will not get the chance to watch a full 2 hour or 1.5 hour interview sometimes. So if I see some really good bits there, beefy, I might just make a little clip of it and put it out for you. But guys, thank you so much again. I can't thank you all enough. I do have a Patreon. If you want to join the gang, my Patreon description is in the description below. It does help me out loads to kind of support this channel, the StreamYard payment, all the stuff to just try and actually do this for a living, to maybe buy another Teletubby for my little boy because one of his eyes has stopped blinking. But yes, you can also support the merch. We have free designs, as always. Those are the three t-shirts, and we have. If you do drink fluids, you can get yourself a little cantina. Uh, I don't have one yet. I need to get one to support my own channel. But guys, yes, the merch, the Patreon, the thumbs up mainly. I don't care if you can't afford to support it that way. Support it with a thumb, or support it with a share, or tell a friend about it. Because one day it might take a bit, because I have started to go grey since I've started to make the channel. But one day I'll be on here, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 times a week. But one can dream. But anyway, good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. I'm Alien Addict. Like, share, and subscribe, and all that lovely, jubbly stuff. Can't remember how to end this stream yet. Oh, there we go. There we